First 5 feet, first 5 words, first 5 seconds.
So when you guys came out here, what was here that you started with?
So this building was built as a bed and breakfast
Okay.
in the 90s. So it has always been some type of lodging. It's never, some people are like, oh, it was a home, did you turn it into a business? Nope, it's always been
So you bought it with the
traditional
lodging
B&B, yeah.
license B&B.
Yep, and historically, you know, it's kind of been like B&Bs are like kind of a retiree project, which is interesting because they're so physically demanding. I don't know how that happened, but like it should not be the case.
It's like B&Bs before Airbnb.
Right, it was, yeah. So when we bought it, it was for sale as a residential home because I don't think that they thought it was going to sell as a business.
Okay.
But we were looking.
Yeah.
So we were like, yeah, this is perfect. It came furnished on the business side. There's an owner's side. That was obviously empty. Then we moved into that.
Okay.
And then we walked into reservations. We moved in the next day.
Like just started running
existing
hospitality
reservations.
business.
Yeah.
Were you in hospitality before that, or did you like figure this out?
No, we were not. We were not. My wife a little bit more. She at the time worked in airport concessions for restaurants, mainly at Denver International. Yeah. So she's in business development. So like she was kind of on the outskirts, being involved in restaurants of hospitality. But we both developed our kind of hospitality interest as we met and our relationship developed.
Yeah.
So we started doing, we met in 2016 and we started doing secret shops for restaurants, where you management hires somebody to go in and secretly critique their experience.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of companies that do that and you can sign up, and we were going to restaurants all over Denver.
Oh, nice.
And it is a detailed critique.
Okay.
So we really had it started to get an eye for hospitality, and then this was really based on the idea of treehouses. We wanted to be Colorado's first treehouse hotel. Cool. So it was like, how do we do that? Do we buy land? Do we buy an existing building? It was not about own a bed and breakfast. It was about build these tree houses and then build the environment around it. So that's really how this, and Alea found this on Zillow. So.
Yeah, and there's not many treehouse villages for sale, or a planning direction of how do you build a treehouse village.
I know, and I think we learned why there aren't many is because it's so friggin' hard to do.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of security in that sense from competition because, man, it has been difficult to get them. But there's a handful in the United States, and then obviously a lot more prevalent overseas, just because I think regulations are a little bit easier. But we're pumped to be one of the first in Colorado. We're so cool. Very excited about that. Yeah. Should we walk around?
Yeah, let's check out.
Show you all the spaces.
The lodge.
Let's start out here. So we host small events, but kind of our bread and butter is hotel stays. So this is our main event space. We built this, I want to say 2022-ish. There was an existing deck here, but it was the original.
Yeah,
so we upgraded with the roof because we do weddings, and obviously.
And so is this the wedding space?
This is reception space.
Okay. Yeah.
Get the bar going. Ceremony site is out in the woods. It's like a 6-minute hike in the woods. But then they come back here, they get all the lodging, and then they do their dinner out here. We do weddings May through October.
Nice.
So the pretty months.
Yeah, what a beautiful spot to do it.
Yeah, it's great. People love it. Yeah. And they're small. We go up to 50 people, so we keep it intimate. Like most things here, we want it to be a little bit more personal.
Yeah.
As opposed to the venues that just churn out couples.
How many wedding venues are you guys doing a year?
We do all sizes. We do elopements up to 50 people. So
elopements?
Yeah, we'll do true elopements, just 2 people.
Okay,
We have really small packages, and then we go up to 50, which is our big, which is still not very big.
Little side note, my wife and I eloped at 19 years old, so I have
Did you really?
a heart for the young and in love.
Okay, well, we do.
and like we were talking about, bliss is ignorance is bliss. Totally. That was one of those.
Well, you're still married.
And we're 20. We just celebrated 25 years.
Wow!
So
congratulations.
Sometimes,
Well, we do vow renewals, just putting on the back of your mind.
Yeah. All right.
We do somewhere between 30 and 40 a year, including the little tiny ones.
Yeah. Cool.
We do keep it small. It's just us. We have a very small staff. Few
so
contractors.
in elopements, will you do the ceremony or?
Actually, my wife sometimes will do them. I don't do them.
Okay.
We usually bring in officiants, photographers, all that good stuff. We're just here to help. But yeah, weddings are, it's been a special place for weddings. When we got married here, my wife and I, we were like one of the first weddings. So.
And you said, so most of your guests coming in now are you said hotel? Are they usually like booking out the whole place?
No, they can. We do
you
buyouts.
Yeah.
So we call ourselves a boutique hotel for a lot of reasons, not just because we're small, but most of our guests just book individual rooms. So, and that's kind of what we enjoy the most, is like just one-off guests. All of our rooms have ensuite bathrooms, so you just go on and book like you would at a holiday.
So I'm an architect. We'll nerd into why boutique hotel versus you bought it as a B&B.
Yes. Well, we learned very quickly we didn't want to be making breakfast anymore. We did make breakfast. We made a killer breakfast. I can now do a killer egg. We did breakfast for like 6 months until COVID hit. And breakfast is tough because like we don't think it's really necessary.
Yeah.
It was a lot of food waste. We weren't really, when we eventually changed it to be a pay-for breakfast, we weren't really making much money. And at the time, we were both still working full-time and commuting into Denver.
Right.
So it was a nightmare. And so then when COVID hit, we were like, let's just scale back.
Yeah.
It gave us an easy excuse. So we stopped doing breakfast, and people didn't really miss it.
How about the on-site component? Are you guys still here, or do you?
We are. So we have our owner's side, and legally somebody has to live here. So we're in the process of transferring from us living here to somebody else staying here. It always has to be someone's primary residence. It's still currently
even
ours.
as a hotel.
Well, we aren't legally a hotel. We're legally a bed and breakfast.
Okay.
But we are allowed to call ourselves a boutique hotel from marketing terms. Jeff goes cool with that. But yeah, legally we are a bed and breakfast. It is a little subset.
So tricky.
In Colorado. It is very confusing. But now we actually just bought the house across the street. So now we're in the process of moving over there.
Yeah.
This is like, we were like, we got to be close, and house went for sale.
And you're in it. Nice.
Yeah. So we have like a night person, and we're working on that kind of process of growing, which is great.
How many units or beds?
5 rooms in the lodge.
Okay.
Up to 8 tree houses, 2 right now. So
5 rooms in the lodge, 8 tree houses.
So we'll cap it 13 rooms.
Yeah. And then how far along are you on the tree houses? Do you have 8 or?
We have 2 that are opening in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then the next 2 designs are pretty much complete, soon to be in the building department. And then the last 4 yet to be designed.
Okay. So it'll be ongoing.
Keep them going.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, should we keep?
Let's keep walking.
Keep the walk.
Let's go back upstairs. I mean, obviously you've seen the bar. I'll show you a couple rooms upstairs. Another spot, we call this our hummingbird patio because the hummingbirds are totally wild in the summer. Guests are up here almost year round, unless it's covered in snow. And I'm not feeling like shoveling. If there's no snow out here, they're out here, which is fun.
Yeah.
And these are probably the best views in the lodge that aren't in a room. So we've got 3 rooms upstairs, which we'll walk up there. 3 guest rooms upstairs, 2 guest rooms downstairs, and then owner's quarters is here in the middle.
I love that you got all these kind of different outdoor spaces.
Yeah.
Some people kind of focus on creating like these great indoor environments, but when you're coming up in a place like Evergreen, like having a place to hang out is almost more important than what you have on the inside.
Totally. Yeah, and people have said that they really like that there are areas to get away where you may not see other guests.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have a lot of little nooks and areas to curl up with a book or play a game or whatever. Some people have said, hey, even when you're full, it feels like there's nobody here, which is great. And again, we can't take credit for all of that. We do like to create little places to be, but the building was designed really well.
Yeah.
And we've leaned into the outdoor space because that's why people come up here.
Nice.
They want to be outside. And this is.
And so the property, like, I see you guys have like 10 acres.
We do. We're on 10 acres. Yeah. Most of it's that way, which we'll
walk
walk out there
for people to go and walk. Or?
We have trails. Not much is that way. It's pretty rugged.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll walk out because all of our tree houses will go on our trail system.
Cool.
So it's a nice little walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the trails were designed and built by one of the previous owners who we still stay in touch with. We stay in touch with all the previous owners, actually.
So there's been a couple.
There's been a couple. There's been, I think, 4. And ironically, I'm looking up here on the chimneys. You'll see these little AHs everywhere. See the little...
Oh, fun.
So those were, I'm pretty sure, They're woodpecker holes that they covered. And it used to be called Ashley House, which is really funny.
Oh, that's
That was one of the
ironic.
previous names. I know. So you'll see those around, and we kept them up because they're kind of neat. It was one of the previous owner's dog's name.
Okay.
So Alea was like, it's meant to be.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, you'll see those around. I need to get some to cover. We have plenty of woodpecker holes. I need to cover some more of them up. We can walk upstairs. I'll show you some rooms. The main lobby here. All of our rooms are king rooms. We are adults only.
Okay.
And when we talk to so many guests and like we hear these stories of people saying, oh my gosh, I had this treehouse when I was a kid, or they have this, there's just a tie to like magic and these happy memories that adults have with treehouses. And there's only so many things in life for an adult that still hold that. So it has really tapped into something, I think, with guests that we just held on to, and we're like, it's got to be adults only.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the like childlike thing, we're doing like sexy and romantic and moody, and people love it. And if somebody wants to buy out the whole lodge, bring your kids. Great.
Yeah.
It's
And I know we've got kids. I love kids, but sometimes I want to go have a romantic weekend with my wife.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's like, totally okay.
And that experiential piece that a treehouse can provide, like there's
and without the guest next to me having a screaming kid.
Totally. That's really the benefit. Yeah. People are like, can I bring my kids? And I'm like, unfortunately, no. But when you need a getaway, and they're so grateful when they do it, because it's like, I really needed that. So
right.
I think we made the right choice in being adults only. We love kids as well, and we still like our events have tons of kids, and any buyout you can bring your kids. It's really just normal.
But man, like in today's society where it's just go, like rarely do you get that chance to just go reconnect, and it's just so important. And so providing the space for people to be able to do that.
We love
in
it.
nature.
In nature, I mean, let's walk out. You want to walk outside? And we put up this little postcard station, and people love it.
Oh, that's
so
brilliant.
we have all these little postcards. Some of them have Juniper on them, and you can write a postcard and put it in here and put a stamp on it, and we'll mail them for you.
What a cool idea.
And like, we had one woman recently. She said, "We don't charge for them, but you can buy them downstairs."
Yeah.
She said, "Charge me for 28 postcards." I was like, this is awesome.
So you sat there all day.
Yeah. I was like, my wife was like, "We're out of postcards." I was like, "Yeah." The woman in Boxelder wrote 26 of them. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. That would be my mother. She's a writer, and that would be her dream. Just like sit and write her kids.
They really enjoy it. So all of our tree houses are themed by they're all tied to like either some type of an ode to Colorado or some type of feeling that you feel when you go to the mountains. So this one is called the Mountaineers Treehouse. All the working titles were like the mountain. We had a working title called In Awe. Like it's the feeling that you get when you get to the top of a mountain.
Love it.
So this seating area is supposed to be like a cave-like feeling. This is going to be like a greenery, like an edge, greenery, like, as you get to the mountaintop and the greenery goes away and you got stone. Cool. Obviously, the loft speaks for itself because it's higher up. And then this is supposed to be like kind of stone elements that extend out. This was a really fun project that I was so grateful. We had a great tile guy that was able to cut into this correctly to get this stone
there's
to
some
come
tricky
out
stone.
here.
Work on these.
And then the real fun thing is what we call the sky wall. So you can lay in bed, which will be centered over this, and feel like you're camping at the top of the mountain. Yeah, so a lot of fun. A lot of like rock inspiration.
Okay.
So this is the Mountaineers Treehouse.
Who's your design team?
We work with D-Lib Design, Danielle Livingston. She's fantastic.
Cool. Is she local Colorado?
She is. I think she lives in Littleton. And she, like, what she brought that our other designers in the past didn't have was commercial hospitality experience as opposed to just residential. And so understanding the needs of a hotel and the design that we love was important. But Danielle and Megan, who works with her as well, they got into the nitty gritty like 2-3 years ago. It was like concepts and themes, and it wasn't just what it looks like.
Yeah.
It was like the whole idea of all the tree houses and how they fit into what is currently Juniper. So they've been incredible. I mean,
so cool.
This did not come from us.
And they're architecture and interiors?
No, she's interiors, but she definitely weighs in from a design perspective. But these were designed like years and years and years ago by a company called Treehouse.
Okay.
He's out of Fort Collins.
Yeah.
Super talented guy. He builds tree houses for a living.
Nice.
So he designed these, and then Danielle came in with ID. But as we move forward, the ones that we have yet to design, she will come in earlier and kind of work alongside the architect and keep it going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we've piecemealed it over time, and like it'll be nice moving forward to have everybody together,
like pulling together
instead of bringing in people late and
yeah.
So we've got a great team now.
Love
which is fantastic. So yeah, this thing will be open in a couple weeks.
What were some of the you said like the overarching like commercial aspects of hotels? What were some of the things that like played into a
like,
treehouse micro resort that wouldn't be typical of just a residential?
Yeah,
project?
that's a great question. So we probably learned those just with experience. Things like cleanability, picking out like tile that cleans well. Like just yesterday I was talking to the woman who did this really awesome plaster, and we talked about what can we put on this, like a coating that will allow me to clean it, because this is really porous, and I'm going to get wine splatter and coffee
splatter. Yeah, it looks
splatter.
great, but you're right.
I know. And she was like, oh, I didn't think about that. So, she's going to do some testing to, can we put some type of gloss or something over it so I can just wipe it. Cleanability is a big one. Soundproofing.
Do you guys have a cleaning crew, or do you guys do it? Or?
We have some contractors, soon to be employees.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we're not afraid of cleaning. I've got some cleaning to do once you guys leave. So you can never be shy when it comes to cleaning if you're regardless. But we do have a team of people that helps in the summer when we're really busy.
Okay.
But yeah, we jump in too. So you got to know what's going on in your rooms.
That's right.
I'm like, oh, this door handle's broken. But yeah, cleanability, soundproofing. Durability is a big one. Residential furniture choices sometimes, I don't cut it, stuff.
And you've had a good chance to kind of test in the lodge. Have you guys gone through some furnishings that I wouldn't do that again? Yeah,
at first when we were really new, we were like, oh man, this stuff doesn't last. So you learn really quickly, especially with things like beds, like bed frames and stuff. You have to get really durable stuff, and you get what you pay for. So D-Live is really in tune to that, and making sure that what a guest wants and how they use certain things is in line, because things like reading lights or putting outlets in the right location based on what types of things people travel with, all that stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, should we go to the big guy up there?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Let's do it. Thanks, Brody.
Really?
All of the infrastructure for all 8.
Okay.
Which is why it looks the way it looks.
Sure.
So that.
And so where's is this the septic field?
No, the leach field is way down in that grassy area.
Okay.
It's way down there.
Yeah.
And then we have another one for the lodge. But at this point, everything's stubbed, and tree houses can just go up.
Got it. Okay, so this is just your lines for your septic to be able to stub up.
Yes. So actually the next treehouse goes right. We kind of informally call these two the twins. The next one will be right here.
Okay.
They'll be very close to each other.
Cool.
And then the others are way out. There's one that goes down there.
So one shared septic.
Yeah, the one septic for all the tree houses, and then one for the lodge. There's also a tree house that will branch off of the lodge.
Okay.
And that treehouse goes to that septic. So 7 out here.
Yeah.
1 over there.
And then you ran water lines.
All water, all electric.
All up here. So the water lines are 6 foot deep, big deep trenches?
There's some on the deeper end. They're 12 to 18.
12 to 18.
Feet deep.
Oh,
yeah.
Feet?
Feet.
That's really deep. Okay.
Really deep.
So digging into this mountain.
So all of this, we had a 12-foot trench here 2 months
Wow.
ago.
Okay. Yeah. Getting it all up and through here was.
Yeah, it was Dune. I mean, like I said, Dune Brothers, pros.
Yeah.
And we're in cleanup phase now. Obviously, like backfilling and fixing the grade and all that stuff. So this one is mining themed. You know, a nod to everything in the ground. So lots of like gold and.
Yeah, my wife would love this one. She's all about like the gold and black.
Yeah.
Is her stick right now.
Bathtub was a fun one. So yeah, this is going to be a really pretty one.
Yeah, beautiful. Great views. We'll just move on. Awesome, thanks guys. So
yeah, I think entrepreneurship it's just something that's in you. I think.
Yeah.
My wife in particular, she got her start in small business development, SBDC in Denver, Chamber of Commerce, and really when we met, was a huge and still is a huge proponent of small business owners, entrepreneurship. So as soon as we met, we started talking about like, could we ever have a business together? What would it look like? What would we be interested in? And that was kind of a thread. She still teaches startup classes and.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Where's she do that?
Well, up until, I think she did it during COVID too. She did it remotely. She taught this class called Leading Edge.
Okay.
In Denver at the Chamber. And so she would meet, we still see some of her students out that have like thriving businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
She hasn't taught that particular class in a while, but she's, even working, she works in airports now. So she's constantly partnering with retail and restaurants and bringing them into the airport. So she's meeting all types of business owners and encouraging them to, showing them the path to growth, which is really fun. Because we're kind of surrounded by all types of people who want to grow their businesses. So it's cool. It's always been something that we've cared about.
Yeah. Were you doing, was this your first venture into entrepreneurship, or were you doing other businesses before?
I was actually like Kyle. I was always in media. I had a completely different background. So I wanted to be in film and television from when I was really young. So as a kid, I was like, I would make like I would shoot weddings. I would shoot I would do sports highlight videos. So I was like, I remember I used to charge my friends in school to do like videos for their class projects, and I would charge them. So if you count that as entrepreneurship, I think I had the itch to make money on my own.
There you go.
But Alea had it in a much more professional sense, because I was doing the corporate thing up until 3 months ago, technically.
Yeah. So I've always, this is new to me, doing a podcast, and what I love the conversational piece. I love the storytelling of it. And something in me thinks there's a thread between storytelling and hospitality when you're creating spaces. Absolutely. How has that influenced in your hospitality work?
That's a great question. I think what we've learned in hospitality, granted, we have our hospitality style is very boutique. It is we take pride in being a small property, and I think we can provide a certain type of experience because we're small. And the whole question is, how do you provide that as you scale up? But having a story, people just grasp onto it. They want it. They want to hear that there's a history behind the place that they're in. They want to hear about how this came to be. That we'll end up chatting with guests in the lobby at check-in. We'll just chat with them for 20 minutes. People love that. They don't necessarily, depending on the type of travel they're doing, they don't necessarily just want to have it be a transactional experience. So storytelling is a big part of that. And it's something that we've really leaned into. And I don't think we necessarily understood the degree to which it would benefit the business and be extremely fulfilling as business owners. Originally, we were like, oh, we'll just let the brand speak for itself. And then we realized we can't really escape being very much a part and a face of the business. And then we just embrace that, not that we would want to escape it, but all of a sudden we were like, oh, people were like, we come have a glass of wine with us. And I mean, that's the best thing, to hang out with your guests.
Yeah.
And then, how do you grow and bring people on your team that do the same thing, which is great. And that's kind of the dream, because then you get to host more guests.
One thing I've noticed just walking around here is how wonderful a job you guys have done of creating these little stage sets, almost like you would in a play or a theater. And you've got these, wonderful little places that, are just impromptu, easy to grab, a cup of coffee, have a conversation, little nooks to sit and read a book, the fireplace set up top, that moves maybe with the time of day.
For sure. Yeah, the building has had all these nooks and crannies, and being adults only and seeing so many people coming here for, we've got anniversaries, celebrations, birthdays, whatever. A lot of like getaways for people that maybe want to have downtime. We also do a lot of like solo people who just need an escape. Like we have a guest checking in today, and we have a little thing that says, what brings you here? Like an optional that you can write in. And she wrote something like, looking for a peaceful getaway. And it's just like a one night. Yeah. It's probably a single female, although we get single males as well. But like, so knowing that type of guest that comes, we wanted to make little areas where somebody could enjoy whatever it is that they're here for in certain ways, whether it's loungy or a table for somebody to do their year-end business planning or whatever, or communal areas too, because some people, there's a lot of like-minded people that stay here. Yeah. And they'll all end up at the fire pit if they're all hanging out. So having spaces for both, I think, is helpful, and it lets people come back for different reasons.
And my favorite is the postcard.
The postcard station. That's new.
That
postcard
you just put in.
Station's new. Yeah.
Like I said, my mother's a writer. That would just like speak to her soul if she could have a place to be able to sit and reflect and write.
It's an experience, and that's the thing, is everything we try to create experiences. So like to sit down, grab a postcard, and hopefully write it while you're here. Yeah. Just gives a little experience. Send it to your family members or whatever. We've had people that send it to themselves, and they get it in a week or whatever. Like snail mail is still a beautiful thing. So.
It is, and sometimes just contrary. Like we're so like tied in always to instant email and text. And,
I know. Slow down.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
A little bit. Have a good cup of coffee when you come out to the mountains.
For sure. Yeah.
So speaking of experience, like this whole place seems like it has been a crazy experience of putting together. Maybe just walk us through a little bit of the past. How many years is 2019?
6 years. Yeah, 6. We'll be 7.
Of the experience of if you're talking to other hospitality entrepreneurs, that have that same passion and drive that want to create something. What has that experience been like? What are the things that roadblocks that you wish you would have known before, or?
Yeah, that's a big question. I mean, I think in terms of hospitality and being a business owner, one of the biggest things we've learned is bringing people along for the ride. That some people in hospitality, there's avenues you can go with it, and I would say whichever one you choose, like stick with it. Yeah. Like we see business owners in hospitality that are more of the like behind the scenes, like the DIY, like here's how we fixed this room today, that type of thing. Yeah. And that's extremely successful, right? Like the HGTV angle. That's awesome. If that's what you like, go for it. You're going to gain a huge following. If you like something different, like we're kind of in the middle. We don't necessarily show all the behind the scenes, but we share our story and our process of behind the scenes. And we've really stayed dedicated to that. Some people are more of the like investment route. I'm just picking options here, and like do that. Whatever it is, like we feel strongly that you can have success if you stick to it. And that you can also have huge wins while you're in the process. So like our goal was to be Colorado's first Treehouse hotel. we will soon be in a couple weeks Colorado's first treehouse hotel. Yeah, I know, right? But we had 6 years where we weren't Colorado's first treehouse hotel. So like, how can you still have wins even when you're not there yet?
Yeah.
Because you absolutely can. Because we got to this point and like it was super cool to pull our email list and be like, man, there's like hundreds of people on here that know that this email is coming. And that's a really cool thing because we shared the vision and we shared the process to whatever degree we thought was appropriate for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And it developed, like, that resonates with people. People want to know that you're in the trenches working for some goal. They like that. They want to be involved in that. So I would say, like, my advice would be open up to people, bring them along for the ride, and then share your knowledge. Like, share your pitfalls, whether it's to other business owners. We've had people reach out and they're like, oh man, we're trying to like remodel a hotel in Idaho Springs, and we're like, awesome, cool, like share the love, because this is being a small business owner is really hard for a lot of unique reasons. And so one thing Alea has definitely taught me is give it back, share it out, help others. Because you get it back twofold, especially when guests come through the door, repeat guests, whatever. A lot of our guests are other small business owners because what we're doing resonates and vice versa. So that would be a big piece of it. In terms of our journey, I never thought any of this would have happened. I knew we would get to this point. I knew we would get to the treehouses. I did, because we were very dedicated people. We really stuck to it. But it's hard. I mean, it has opened up a lot of eyes, and I think that is the difference between, a high level of success as a business is persistence and dedication.
Absolutely.
Like, you just gotta, if you want to do it, you can do it. There are ways, like, you don't have to have all the money up front. You don't have, like, there's so many ways to keep going. But there's a lot of points that you can just bail out. And so, I would encourage people to stick to it, because I do think that, like, there's enough people in the world that will help, give back, give advice, whatever, to keep you going on the path. But yeah, I mean, I did not think we would be 6 years in and would have gone through a process that a lot of big developers go through and would come out on the other side. I really didn't, but here we are.
Yeah. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, and boy, you grow along the way.
100%. For this process, ignorance was bliss for sure. Yeah, but then I see, to see the treehouses in person, and to see that they are to the degree that we wanted them to be. We didn't want to half-ass it. We wanted it to be.
They're beautiful.
We wanted them to be great, and there's no way that they would have been this great if we didn't go through this process.
Yeah, and I think there's just this huge underestimate of what it really takes to do something like this. I'm part of a hospitality group, and just the thought that you're going to walk in and hey, this year we're going to go buy and sometimes they do. Sometimes I'm with guys that are buying 4 a year, and and that's okay. But there's really something to be said about what you said, like resilience and willing to go far and long. Most things, that are worthwhile, you end up breaking a sweat for.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we also, I think these days it's kind of different. I would like to think we're in the minority now, because we're like what you were mentioning with having something that your children could take over, or something that has a little bit more of a foundation, where you're not just I'm gonna go buy this and I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna sell it. That's great. We've thought about doing that. But sticking to one thing or two things or whatever, and really, really doubling down on it. I don't know how much that happens anymore. There's so much turnover, whether it's willingly or not. But really sticking to it, I think we're really proud of, because along the way we've heard lots of quick fix things to get us there faster or whatever. And I think we just kind of thought, no, we're gonna cut right through the mountain and do this the right way. Could we have done it faster in a different way? Probably. But I don't know. I feel we're proud to be at this place where, we didn't have any investors. We didn't have, could we go out and just get silent investors? Yeah. Could we go buy another? Yeah. And again, this is just our philosophy with this particular property and potentially others, is that, spend the time, put in the work, and then you get a different type of benefit on the back end. And that's just our take on it.
Yeah.
We've talked about doing it differently in the future, but to see this and feel what this has done, it's hard to do it differently after we've done it like this. So,
what do you think the future looks like for you guys?
I don't know. Alea, so my wife still works full time, and she's like doing her thing. She's such a badass executive, and I'm doing this full time now, which is the most fun I've ever had. I get more steps. I got an alert the other day that said you on average are taking more steps than you did 6 months ago. Or whatever.
I love it. Closing the circle.
I know. I'm like, whew, my body is hurting. But we talk about other businesses. Oftentimes we talk about other businesses that would be very much like complementary to Juniper.
Yeah.
Not like other Junipers, but like things that could work alongside Juniper. We love food and wine. We love hospitality. I jokingly tell her that I think she turned me into a hospitality monster because I'm like on LoopNet like every week looking for stuff for sale. But I don't know, if something strikes us, we've looked at other places to potentially buy another hotel, but.
What would you do the same and what would you do different on your next project from lessons learned here?
Great question. What we would do the same is dedication to guests and guest experience. We for sure would do that the same. Experiential and what that experience looks like at whatever property that is would probably be different. I think we would want to integrate food and wine in some way in our next property if we were going to do another hotel. But honestly, who knows? It kind of depends on. We love Colorado. I don't think we will do something outside of Colorado. I would like to think that the property would reveal it to us. But we are definitely toying with like, how do we integrate really good food and wine?
Yeah.
I don't really want to own a restaurant, but like.
You should call Tiffany and Rand.
I know. Like there's just people just, when we go places, we want to have great food and wine experiences and have great hospitality, and like they just go hand in hand. It just feels like there's an inevitability to it. But I don't know.
But there's another realm of business.
I know. It's like we also could just stick with Juniper. And like we have so much left to do here. We have 6 treehouses to build. We have plenty to do. So like Alea sometimes has to rein me in because I'm like, let's go buy another one. And she's like, calm down. We have plenty to do here. We don't need to finish this before we start something else. But I never want to like.
So you're also on the planning board now,
I
and so
am on
you
the
know
planning
how
commission.
long it takes to get things through.
I
planning.
know. So
my mind, like I'm not even done construction. We're just broke ground. I'm thinking about planning the next one, and
it's
my
hard,
wife
right?
is the same way. She's like, stop it.
So like pull back the throttle. Yeah, and that's now. It's like the first thing you do is pull up the ODP or the whatever. Like, what can I do on this land and what can I not? And like, is it? We got lucky with this, but yeah, it's also very exciting to window shop and look at other things. It gives you ideas for your current properties, even if you don't go buying new stuff. But yeah, I think we would be very, very happy with continuing and just have Juniper. But I could also see us doing something else. And Alea is just doing her thing with her job. And we have always taken the approach of, if we're ever ready to be full-time at Juniper, I was ready this year. If she's never ready, cool, great, do it. And if you are, then there's plenty to do here.
So hopping back to the planning board, I got to sit in on the short-term
that's so
rental
cool that you were there.
meeting the other day because we were there for our own interest with the Treehouse, and you had some really great things to say in that meeting that kind of balanced the need of what we're dealing with and this growth of short-term rentals across the place, and the interest of people who are trying to preserve affordable housing and all of these things that have gone into this regulations, alongside the need to support hospitality entrepreneurs that are pouring their heart and soul into it like we are. What brought you into the planning board and getting involved on a public scale like that? Yeah,
it was kind of just fell into it. We met, that had to have been 2020, maybe 3 or 2. We met with Leslie Dahlkemper, our county commissioner, actually not in this district, but and she came out to Juniper, and we were in the thick of the site development plan process, and we wanted to make a connection with the commissioner and show her our business, and And we were talking all about things like property insurance, and I was just nerding out. And she probably, she was so supportive and sweet. And she said, have you heard about Planning Commission? And I said, no, I don't know anything about it, which was ironic because we had gone through it, but we didn't go to that particular hearing. And she said, well, they have some vacancies, you should apply. And I thought, well, I don't, there's no, and she said, you've been through this process, you actually would be great at it. So I did, I applied, and they appointed me. And so I found myself on the Planning Commission, and it was an eye-opening process. It was fantastic because you don't realize that, at least some people, as you go through it and you gain more knowledge and you make mistakes, and I developed a genuine interest for that type of development, that type of growth and the process and how to do it well or how to avoid things. And looking at the commission and the commission members, super talented people, but I thought I can bring something that this group of folks don't have. Small business representation, there wasn't a huge female presence, definitely not a queer presence. And so, yeah, I was on as a alternate for a year or two, and now I'm a permanent member, a permanent commissioner. And it's been fantastic. I'm able to stay in tune with what's going on in the county, help hopefully other business owners bring a new perspective to the commission. It's really important, the work that they do, because the recommendations are heard by the Board of County Commissioners. And it's important to have a group of folks that hears the community and listens to the community, and it kind of bridges that gap. Because we work closely with Jeffco staff, and I've found it to be an extremely fulfilling role that I hope to continue on. And I've learned an immense amount in just a short 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you, from what you've learned here, again, bridging back to people coming to the planning commissions or any planning commission that are wanting to do a project like this, what are your suggestions for with that hat on, like they should start to do to work through a project that's as big a scale as something like this? What are the things for them to start to think about?
Yeah, I think that some big things would be develop your team of people, which sometimes that's hard because that's expensive, and it can happen slowly. But a solid engineer, depending on what you're doing, you need a team of people. You can't really do it yourself. I attempted to write our written restrictions, which are you probably know what they are, but they're your policies as a, and I was, some folks at Jeffco were like, yeah, you can write them yourself, which you can, you are allowed to. But I had no business doing that.
Yeah.
So I gave it a shot, and then we learned very quickly, hey, we need somebody that's a little bit more professional with this. So develop a team of people. That could be one person that helps you in the way that you need it. So have a good advisor and have an open line of communication with Jefferson County. Sometimes it feels like they're against you, but they're not. They're actually there to help you. Lean into them for help. Honestly, those two things will get you over the finish line for sure. And just get it moving. Don't wait to go and pursue something. If you're interested in it, go and learn more at minimum with Jeffco. There's nothing wrong with starting a process or starting conversations and learning more information, because just getting more information is half the battle.
Sometimes whether it's planning commission or jurisdictions, seem like the thing to get through versus the partner to partner with and create great cities, great towns, great mountain areas. For people who are interested in doing good developments and doing it right, rather than coming in and saying, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it here and this is how I'm going to do it. How would you advise people to, partner with a jurisdiction or like Jefferson County or their own jurisdictions to really, create and fill the gaps of what's needed and create great places?
I think a big piece of it is listen to your neighbors, community members. It's a big, especially in particular in mountain communities, but everywhere.
Yeah.
Being in tune with your neighbors and being transparent with your neighbors, whether that be your actual neighbor or other business owners in the community, is so important because reputation really, really matters. So that's half the battle. Getting out and meeting and making, connections with other business owners in the area is also really important. Because when you do that between your neighbors and other business owners, you learn what's important in the community. It's like shop talk kind of.
Yeah.
And then doing the same thing with the folks at the county. I mean, they like to talk to the community members. They like to see what's out there.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is communication transparency, I think. Going the route, and what I've seen, going the route of like, this is what we're determined to do, and we're not going to make any adjustments to our plan regardless of what the community says or regardless of the feedback. My experience, that doesn't work out well.
Yeah, good road.
Not just to get your development across the line, but even if you were to get it across the line, you need to have a successful business in that community, and it doesn't always work out that way if you've pissed off people along the way.
Yeah.
So now, when we've had to do that, like we had multiple meetings with our neighbors, both formal and informal, of like, hey, we're here, we're growing, let's talk about what that means. One of our neighbors, I remember she wanted to come over and she wanted to walk the trail to see, she has like a direct eye line. So she wanted to see like, will I be able to see construction and tree houses like from my house, and like how dense is your forest? So we walked her all around, and like she was like, okay, I feel so much better, and like that stuff is important.
Yeah.
Did we have to do that? No. Was there a rule that said we had to do it? No. But she's much happier. She also was like, the light down on the front of your sign is like really blinding in the morning, so we took the bulb out. Like it's like like that stuff, it really does matter. So you don't have to like appease everybody, but
right. There's a certain balance of like individual property rights.
Absolutely.
And you're never going to please everybody.
Never.
But engagement with your local neighbors, your larger neighbors.
It's huge. And accessibility too. Mm-hmm. Like we had a neighbor once that was like, he's like, I'm going to submit a zoning violation on you guys. And I said, hey, why don't you pick up the phone and give us a call if you have a problem. I didn't realize you were upset about that. Just give me a call. Like, be available.
Yeah.
That is also half the battle. Like we always say to anybody, just give us a ring. If you have concerns, we're here to help, not just our customers, but also the people that allow us to be successful in the community. So it is getting across the line in terms of your permitting, your whatever, but that's just like, when your business has been running for 20 years, that becomes a tiny, tiny portion. The rest really matters. Were you good during that process to continue your business successfully is everything. So.
Yeah. So just curious, circling back to the short-term rental regulations that just got.
I know, it's top of mind. It was so fun.
We just went through. And personally, I think there's some good balances struck. There's things I personally would have done different, but we are dealing with, especially in our community, affordable housing across the country, really, and this growing industry of short-term rentals, which in some ways, honestly, I believe helps with affordable housing, because you have areas where you're providing an opportunity to rent out a basement or a room. Yeah. So there's some legitimate things in that. What's your feeling of where we're at, in this moment of time with what's happened with short-term rentals and?
It's such it's so case by case based on what part of the state, country, whatever you're in. Jefferson County is in a period of growth in that sense. I think that it's just a balance that needs to be struck. And in relation to the meeting the other night, I do think that Jeffco has made a solid attempt to find a balance in their policies. We used to have an Airbnb in Denver County, and we we converted it to a long-term rental.
So basically shut it down there.
We shut it down.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were
did.
kind of like, the taxes and fees were getting intense, which was intentional. They did it on purpose. We still could have made money.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of work. I mean, we weren't outsourcing it to a property management company. So we turned it into a long-term rental, and honestly, that's been the best thing we ever did. Now, that worked for us. For some people, short-term rentals is their business.
Yeah.
And I respect that totally. I think that there needs to be policies in place that create balance, that prevent huge developers for coming in and just doing dozens and dozens and dozens. Of course there needs to be policies that do that. I think that allowing for people to rent out portions of their home or portions of structures on their property is important to help the affordability of where they're living, whether or not it was an affordable home when they bought it.
Right.
So, whatever's changed since then, it can, you know what I mean? It wasn't
attainable for it's. I don't know. And we may be long past.
There's a lot of other things that impact affordability.
Yeah.
So I think that as things change, creating allowances for residents to do that is really important because it helps their day-to-day living if they're able to generate some additional income. And one of our commissioners made a great point that there's a lot of ways to generate additional income on your property, not just short-term rentals. So I think a lot of the counties around us have done a great job at striking that balance. And I know Jeffco looked into that when they were working on these policies. So for me, it's about balance. It's about allowing a little bit of everything because you do have to allow some investors to come in. You do have to allow for regular property owners to have a couple of properties. You do need to allow for somebody to rent out their basement. And as long as you allow those in small amounts and you don't let it, kind of spiral the way that Denver did for a period, I think it can benefit the community. But it's hard to, especially Jefferson County, it's definitely hard to create those policies because you have such different areas, whether it's mountain towns and parts of Arvada. It's a whole different monster. And so I think it's unique for Jeffco to try to develop policies that span the entire county because we have such different parts of the county.
Yeah.
And not everybody has that. You look at Summit, that's a whole different thing. You look at Denver, they have very specific policies related to investors. So Jeffco's, it was a tall order to do that.
We've been looking around the country a little bit for our next short-term rental, and there's a lot of areas that have implemented these caps, and most of them set them just above what is currently out there. So there's a little bit of growth up to that. One thing I have not seen in other areas, and I'm sure there is other areas, is this 1% for investors and separating 1% for in your home, basically.
Right.
And so in that meeting, I kind of started thinking, well, actually, that does solve a lot of that, affordability piece that we're talking about that, does allow, for the individual that wants to rent something out, a way to do it. Personally, I wish they would have included the ADU in that, so it's not right in your space. But I do think that was a good nod towards affordability and a little bit unique that I haven't seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and recognizing that these are people that contribute to our community every day, and they're here.
Yeah.
And giving them a little bit of flexibility in the sense that there's no cap there.
Yeah.
And if you want to go rent out a part of your house, great, go for it.
Right.
And with the changes coming with ADUs and allowing for them, and they're moving in the right direction. I think I don't sit in on other county boards or anything, or even other meetings, but I can really personally see the dedication to affordable housing in particular. I mean, it is spoken about in every meeting. How can we, and not just talking about it, but in practice, their dedication to trying to, it's a state initiative, trying to really create this. And I see it woven through a lot of the decisions that they make, which is great because it needs to happen, especially here.
And it needs to happen in a way that it's just I'm so upset with Denver, the way they basically taxed, every new development and said we're going to put an affordable housing tax for everybody that's creating, a house, so that we can then, put this government fund over here we're going to do it for you. We're going to create affordable housing, which to me has been a massive failure.
Yeah.
and so weaving it into things like short-term rental makes, to me, a lot more sense, because you're empowering the individual to, do something that actually, hey, I can rent out my basement to, a set of, a young couple, and they can have a place to start.
Right.
That just seems much more like forward thinking.
Yeah.
Have you seen other areas of policy that are helpful in this?
I wouldn't say this is an area of policy, but what I see most often is Jeffco, the departments that we work with most often, with Jeffco, planning and zoning in particular, they always lean into the things that they can control most efficiently, and like for example, things like permit fees and application timelines. Like, they can change those, right? Those are within their administrative purview. So like, that's great, because if they say, well, we can just go ahead and make this change, and it's going to expedite these development applications that are more conducive to affordable housing, I think that's great, because a lot of the changes that you want to make, they take time, and they take voting, or they take, and so Jeffco definitely leans, in my experience, they lean into things that they can do quickly and have even if it's a small impact.
Yeah. It took 6 years to get through this process. And one of the things they were talking about last night was just efficiency to process. And I, 100% agree. It's these small things, back to, other jurisdictions' approach, where they begin to, tack on, enormous tap fees, enormous affordable housing fees. All of a sudden, the cost of regular development, even if you haven't quoted it affordable housing, you're beginning to make more housing more affordable, which in general, if there is less housing, it's less affordable, regardless if it's labeled affordable or not.
That's very true. Yeah, it's just supply and demand. Yeah.
It's a supply and demand that's in the market. And, sometimes just allowing things, to be simpler, less red tape, and, and less, taxed, creates the, the housing that we need, and can be a huge, solution in some of this.
Absolutely. Even just a level of understanding. I mean, some of their policies and documentation can be hard to understand for the regular person in the community, and I've seen them make amendments to things just for clarity's sake, as they should. That's part of their job, but it's really important, because if there's confusion out there, then that's a barrier to entry, and you don't want that for any development.
Yeah. So pivoting just a little bit, we're getting ready to open up our hotel, and I want to take advantage of all your knowledge and experience here. So, we've gone through the development process. We're in construction, and I'm looking ahead to launching and operating.
That's the fun part.
We have a great management partner that's going to come in. What advice do you have for us as we're getting into that launch, of going out?
Yeah, I mean, bring in the people you trust. For sure. Yeah. Obviously, you have to hire a bunch of people, but you're only as good as your staff. So, which I can't necessarily say a lot about, because we don't have a huge staff. We have a tight team of contractors and a few employees. But I mean, I love managing people, so that's a big part of where we're going. So, don't short on that piece. Make sure your folks are trained, and because if you can build the most beautiful place, and if you don't have somebody that opens the door the right way, the previous owners of Juniper, Terry and Cheryl, sweetest people. We actually stayed here as a guest when we were under contract, even though our realtor was like, "That's a terrible idea." We were like, "No, we're buying a business too, not just a building." So they told us, and we talk about this all the time: first 5 feet, first 5 words, first 5 seconds. So when we put our sign in, we didn't have a lot of money, our sign down by the road. And so we were like, we'll just do something easy, right? And not too expensive. And then I remembered Cheryl saying first 5 feet matter. The first 5 feet that a guest has when they come onto the property matters. First impressions matter. So then I thought, nope, we can't do a cheap sign. And I told my wife, I was like, we have to get a nice sign. Right. We have to. It's the first thing that they see. So, we didn't break the bank, but for us at the time, that was a really expensive sign.
Did our friends at Cognoscito help with that?
They had done the design, but no, we worked with a sign company out of Denver that did that. And we got great feedback on it, and it's perfect for this space. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. It's perfect. Yeah. But I remembered that, and then I don't know. Did you ring the doorbell today?
Yes.
You did ring the doorbell. Okay. So
well, actually, I was going to push it, and you opened the door.
Okay, so that's funny because we first 5 seconds, first 5 words, we try to catch people before they get to the door. That doesn't always happen.
That's awesome.
But
wow.
We really, really try. Or sometimes we'll try to catch them in the parking lot and help them with their bags, which is a whole thing with the Treehouses coming. But so you can't answer the door at red. Like you can't do that all the time, right? But you need to train your people to whatever your philosophy is.
That's so first 5 seconds.
5 seconds. 5 feet, 5 words.
5 words.
Yeah, I mean, you could there's probably a lot more.
Okay, but this is good.
So we thought about that with our sign. We think about that with our check-in process, and then obviously the way in which you greet people, which is easy. But like, when we're in the thick of it, and Alea and I were working full time, and we're living in the building, and we're on Zoom calls, and we're doing all the things that a normal remote employee is doing, and the doorbell rings. And there's somebody that's here to check in. Sometimes we're like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I don't even like. It's hectic. Yeah. And so I talked about, I didn't do it. I said, let's do it when the Treehouses come, but putting a little thing on the door where we walk out to check people in, where only we could see it, that says like something like, a reminder of what this guest could be doing. They could be getting married here. They could have saved for a year to go on vacation. We've welcomed people that are grieving the loss of somebody, right? And so like, getting into that perspective of like when you open the door, it matters what you bring. Man. Like if you bring stress from the call that you were just on, that matters to that person. Yeah. They might not realize it, but like most people are in a great mood when they get here, unless it's like travel issues. But for the most part, people are starting their vacation. They're thrilled. It's not hard to make it a good experience, but it really does like, you have to just like get into that mindset and be ready for it and bring the right energy. I think that makes a huge difference. But you have to teach that to your employees, and we are starting to do that. I have to teach it to people because I can't open the door every single time, and I will never be able to do that. I want to do it, but I just can't do it. So teaching that to your employees and helping them and having them hiring people that have the ability to do that, meaning they care. How do you get them invested in their business, in your business? Yeah. I think it's a lot about people and experience. Management is a huge piece of it, especially a place that's going to be as big as yours. So it's the little things, it's the vibes that people bring. And if they're not feeling it, cool, take the day off. Like, cause I don't want our guests to experience that. That's a tall order, but I think that's what makes the experience. Alea always says like, we have in hospitality, lodging in particular, we have a long period of time with a guest, which is great because if they have a bad experience, you have a longer period of time to make it up to them. If they're at a restaurant, you've got like 2 hours. Good luck. If you messed up their appetizer, good luck. Yeah. But here, if they have a bad experience checking in, okay, what are we going to do to fix it? We've got the rest of the evening and we've got the morning and maybe another evening and morning. Who knows how long they're staying. So when we first opened up, I'll never forget it. We had this gentleman who stayed, sweetest guy ever. He had booked before we bought it, and then we took over. So, there had been a few changes. Some of the furniture had changed in his room from between the ownership change, and he was really upset. And he was like, this was not as advertised. This chair wasn't here, and down here was a mess. It was just. And I was devastated. We were sitting in the couch.
So personal.
I was devastated. We were sitting in the couch upstairs, and he was up above us. And this was like week 1. And I was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Recently we went back to the email because he emailed us while he was here. And we actually went back to the email not long ago to read it to see like what our response was. And we just we were like, you know what, you're exactly right. It was not as advertised. We just bought it, and we didn't make excuses, but we just gave him perspective. Yeah. And then we gave him a free night and a discount. You do all the things that you do. Right. And then in the morning, we were still making breakfast. In the morning, Alea was like, she's so good at this. She's like, we're doing breakfast. I got this. So she was like, I'm going to get to know this guy. So she's making breakfast and the door's open to the lobby and she's just chatting him up and, where are you from? And she talked to him for like a half an hour and he was like, this is great. So we're lucky in lodging to have that amount of time to do that and turn it around.
Yeah.
And you can turn it around. So long story short, to answer your question, teaching people that you can do that in order to get wins in hospitality, I think is everything. Especially like you can even have a crap hotel, it looks terrible. You could still bring the best hospitality to it.
That's so good.
No.
That's so good. So, I got going down this hospitality venture because I read Unreasonable Hospitality. I was like, oh, we have got to apply this to our architecture business and how we treat our clients because, we are, often not showing up, in that way of like, oh, we got another planning thing or they want this. It's like, no, like these guys are investing in their, dream project, their dream home, and we need to show up in a way that serves like that.
Yeah.
So Root Architecture and Development, we just pulled that off and we said, well, we're just gonna call it radical hospitality is our,
I love it.
Is our ethos of how we're gonna treat our people, our clients, and our projects. So I kind of end with that, like what does radical hospitality mean to you?
Oh man, I mean we're going against the norm, being unique. It's funny. I think there's a balance between being different, but being like really rooted and having a great foundation. We take pride in that. We don't want to be like this crazy outlier. We want to have stuff that's an experience that's reliable and familiar and welcoming, but we also want to be going a little bit against the norm because the norm is kind of crappy. So, you know what I mean?
That's
like
right.
you got to go against it a little bit in order to be good.
Yeah.
So,
love it.
yeah, for
Love
sure.
it.
That's a great question.